everyone and welcome to Heb's Home Crochet. My name's Heather and in today's tutorial we're going to be looking at the linen stitch, sometimes known as the moss stitch. So for this stitch we need to create a foundation chain in any multiple of 2. So for the purposes of this tutorial I'm going to do a sample piece of 24 stitches, but make the work as wide or as small as you like in a multiple of 2 to complete your project. So to get started we need to make a slip knot. If you'd like a more in-depth tutorial on how to make a slip knot and foundation chain, you can go to my channel and find that. So I'm just doing it quickly for you today. So to make a foundation chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And you need to do that as many times as the width of your project takes in a multiple of 2 for this pattern. So I'm going to stitch 24, or chain 24, sorry, and then I'm going to come back to you and we can start to create the linen stitch. So once you have your chain in multiples of 2, we need to start creating the stitch. So to start this stitch we need to work into the second chain from the hook, so not counting the chain on the hook, count back 1 and 2, and we need to do a single crochet into that stitch. So insert your hook straight into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, and you should have 2 loops on your hook. Then you want to yarn over and pull through both loops to create that single crochet. Then you need to chain 1. Then what we're going to do is skip a stitch and work into our next chain. So skip the next chain and work into the next one along, straight into that chain with a single crochet, and then chain 1 again, and then skip a stitch and single crochet into the next chain. And that's all you're doing, chain 1, until the end of the row for this round. So you can continue to do that. I'll show you one more time. So after our single crochet and chain, we skip a chain, work straight into the next chain with a single crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and continue. So skip a chain, single crochet. Now I'm using American terms. If you'd like a conversion chart for US versus UK crochet terminology, then you can find that over on my blog, and that should give you all the answers you need if you're confused by the crochet terms that I'm using here. So I've chained 1, skip a chain into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and chain 1. Continue that way all the way to the end. There's not much left now, and I will meet you back to start our second row. So once we've completed our row and we've done a single crochet into the last stitch on our chain, we need to chain 1 and then turn our work. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky, because instead of working into our chains, our stitches, our V's, whatever you'd like to call them here, we're actually going to work into the chain space. So where we made that chain 1, we're working into that space to create this stitch. So go carefully, go slowly, there's no rush, get it right, and then you'll be on your way to creating this stitch. So into that first chain there, if you're having trouble seeing it because the stitches look a bit tight, which they sometimes do on this stitch, just pull your work apart a bit. It will bounce back after a while, so don't worry about that. So into that first chain there, we're just going to do a single crochet like before, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to work into that next chain space. So this is the back here of that single crochet we did in the first row. So we're not working into there. You can see that V, if I push the work together, we're working into the chain spaces next to the V's. So into that one, single crochet, chain 1 as before, and then into that next chain space. Chain 1, into the next chain space with a single crochet, chain 1, and that's all you need to do all the way to the end of the row. Just keep inserting into those chain spaces and chaining 1, and then straight into the next chain space and chain 1, and just continue that way all the way to the end. If you are struggling, pull your work apart, pull down on the chain and up on the row above, just to stretch out those chain spaces, and you should find them easily. So I'll leave you here, meet you back at the end of the row, and we can move on to our third row. So once you get to the end of your row, you've done a single crochet and a chain into your last stitch, your last chain space here. You've not quite reached the end of the row. This stitch here, you need to do a single crochet into, and that's just to keep your edges nice and straight. So the last stitch on the row, just do a single crochet into that one and then chain one and turn. So here you can start to see where you've single crocheted into your chain spaces. Now we're going to do single crochets into these chain spaces. So your work does look a little tight here, but again, pull it apart. I promise you it gets easier and quicker the more you repeat. So we're just going straight into that first chain space. So there's your first single crochet and there's your second one. So we're going into that space in the middle there. Single crochet, chain one, and then you're going into the next chain space. And that is it. That's all this stitch consists of. Just single crochets and chain ones to build this lovely alternating pattern. You can change colour every rows if you like. This might look nice with a white row and then a colour pop row, just to make the stitch stand out. But yeah, completely up to you. So you're just single crocheting into the chain spaces, chain one, single crochet, chain one, all the way to the end. And then when you get to the end, you need to remember to single crochet into that last stitch on the row. So I've come to my last chain space and you need to single crochet into that stitch there on the row to keep that nice straight edge. There we are. And then chain one and turn. I'm going to build this work a little bit just so I can come back and show you what the stitch looks like in a bigger piece. So as you can see, I've worked this stitch up a bit more now, and this is what it looks like close up. So you can see all your stitches, they alternate from one row to the next. So it's, like I said, it's a lovely stitch if you want to change colours. So you can see the stitches a bit more, but it's a lovely stitch and it works up really quickly as well. So you're only actually stitching in every other stitch, so you've got half the stitches than your foundation chain on every row, which is fabulous. I'm just going to show you now how I worked this stitch on my scarf pattern that was published in the Bella Coco blog, and then you can see how it looks in action. So this here is the headband that I created as part of a headband and scarf matching set. So as you can see, the colour change really works well for alternating the stitches, and worked up on a thicker piece of, or bigger piece of fabric. This is the linen stitch. And this is in a super chunky yarn, which actually works really well. It's upside down. Which actually works really well for the stitch, and gives it more defined look, which is I just think beautiful. So this scarf pattern you can find, as I said, on the Bella Coco blog, and this is how it looks just on plain one colour. So as you can see, it works up really nicely, and it's a great stitch to work with, and it gives a nice texture as well. So not too textured, I guess is the word, but really subtle, soft texture, which is nice, not just flat. So yeah, that's the scarf. So if you liked this tutorial and you want to check out the scarf pattern, I'll leave all the details in the description box below. Give me a massive thumbs up, thumbs over here, and hit that big red subscribe button so I can continue to make tutorials and bring you content that you love. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.